So you've started a VRGK project and you've realized you want left-hand controls. Simple. Audiences aren't primarily left-handed. Some are right, some are ambidextrous. That doesn't matter. We need to make it so you can swap. So I wrote it up in the VR Game Kit Usefuls Tips channel. However, I wasn't entirely clear. So I'm going to basically skim through it. Well, not skim, but help out and make this more understandable. So for starters, we must go to the BPW gameplay settings menu. This is the widget that's called when you go into your pause menu, change your graphics and stuff. But this one's for gameplay, it's the gameplay menu. On this little search palette bar, you're going to be wanting to type BPW underscore gameplay, BPW menu option control. Drag it in, just place it right next to the movement source. And we're going to just call it movement controller. Custom, and then do left and right. So we'll do left controller with a value of 0 and right as the value of 1. Now, usually I would save this to the end. However, I would like to get this done right away. So we need to just create a value change for the time being. We're going to come back to this because we need to reference things like the game instance and the settings. We don't have any of that set up, and on top of that, we got to get it to set up on startup. So now, compile what you've done so far, and I'm going to create an enum in this file. Could be anywhere. Would not recommend placing here, but just for example, blueprints, enumeration, type in enum. That way it's easier to find. VR movement controller source. Now remember this. In fact, copy if needed, because you're going to forget it and it's going to cause issues. Double click. It's blank. Click new twice. Display name for the first one, type in left controller. Put it as one word, you can put it as 2. I would recommend putting it as 1. Then type in right controller on the next. Hit save. That's the enum setup. Now we have to go to the BP persistent save. So back out, type in BP underscore persistent save. Now, all we have to do here is create a variable. Click plus variable and type in VR input source. And this is why I pasted it, why I copied it earlier, because it's easier to paste. So just type in enum VR movement controller source. Hit save. And as you can see here, left and right are already set up. So that makes life a hell of a lot easier. Okay, now this is the bit where people get a bit confused, and I have to blame myself for this because I didn't explain it the best I could. So now type in BPO underscore settings. You're going to create 2 functions. First one, get a movement controller and set movement controller. We're going to focus on get first, okay? Because get is probably the most easiest and the most simplest to set up. So the reason people got confused, and this is under my fault, there's this little category tab. I would put it under gameplay, just to make it look a bit cleaner. Do it for both of them. So they appear right here. Now, before we do anything, check pure. This turns it into the nicer green one, as you can see, because we don't need to modify this in any way. Click outputs, leave as is. Now, drag out the persistent save game. Also, make sure you hit compile or this won't show up. Type in VR input source, drag it in so it adds a new pin, clear off the old one, and then compile and save, just in case it crashes. Now for the set, you're going to want to drag out the persistent save game again, type in set VR input source, hook that up, hook this up. Now this is where it gets confusing, because we're missing, we can't just type in my photo, cool on movement controller change. This is where we go here, create a new event dispatcher, and type in on movement controller change. Put this under gameplay. And type in, ignore all this, hit new parameter, type in VR input source, well, the enum VR movement controller source. We're going to call this controller, just make it cleaner. Hit compile. Now drag this out. Cool. Click, click, and that's that photo done. Now this is where it gets fun. Hit compile as well, don't forget it. Now on this menu, we're going to set this up so this now works. And I'm going to do it the quickest way possible while explaining it. So the game instance reference is what you need. Then you're going to need the settings from that. And then you're just going to type out set movement controller. Here we are. Hook this up. And instead of like dragging this way, we're going to drag backwards. We're just going to type in select. So it's already set this up for us. Option 0 is left. So now you need to set option 1 to right. And the index is this. So what I've done is back to here. Left has the value 0, right has the value of 1. There you go. That's that done. Now we need to set this up. This is so when you close the menu, open it back up, it doesn't forget. So we're just going to copy this little bit here, the set index from value. I'd recommend this movement controller, give it an actual name for the actual class. I'm going to call it movement controller. Okay, hit compile, drag this out. Now you can hook this up now. The value you are going to want to hold off, game instance reference, then settings, ignore that, sorry. I'm just going to stop that. And type in get movement controller. Okay, then type in select. Then drag that into value 0, 1. Now here we need to create a then. Just hook that up, and if you would like to, you can make that look all pretty. Okay. Now we've done every menu. All these menus are done. You can give yourself a pat on the back for that. That was probably one of the most difficult parts. So now we need to go to the VR game pawn, which is this one here. Make sure you keep an eye on the name. Now go to the input graph. So most people get confused and worry whenever they mess with these things. When you do left-handed support, you think, oh, I've got to swap the controls around from every single controller so no one bothers with it. That is completely false. That is just your mind tricking you. So we're going to start with this left thumbstick first, because it's probably easier to kind of clean it up. Okay, expect this to get a bit confusing. So thumbstick L and thumbstick Y both now need to start with get EPO game settings. This is because we now need to check if the left thumbstick should be doing something else. Drag off the settings and type in get movement controller. Now, this is why I use the enum. It allows you to switch the code based on what's been selected. And for left controller, plug left to left. Now right controller, we're going to move this down so it looks less cluttered. We need to do exactly what the right controller would do. So copy all the right hand side's code, paste it here, keep the right hand, I noticed that didn't cause any issues, and I think beforehand I tried left and it did cause issues. Connect that up, so now, simple as, left goes to left, right goes to right. So if it's swapped around, it will swap. We're now going to do the exact same thing we did with right, so I'm just going to copy this so we don't have to type it out. Paste it, connect, left goes to left, make a bit of distance, and clean up the code. Now we need to get the right's y. Copy that, paste it here, look this up, oh, oops, connect that. Okay, that's the left-hand side done. Now it's very simple to explain what we have to do for the opposite side, except it's not. It might be a bit tricky to explain. I think it's because of the way I did the enum, so it's not going to look perfect. So we're going to need this code again. Let's extend this down, move all this out the way so I can explain what's wrong with my wording. Okay, if you are going by the photos I sent, you already know what's up. But you would think that you'd hook the left hand up to the left hand. Because of my wording, that's incorrect. For the right hand, so the right controller, hook left up to right. I know. It's terrible, but it's the best I could come up word-wise. So then left goes to right, right goes to left. Only on thumbstick right. Thumbstick left's perfectly fine. Thumbstick right is completely different. Then with thumbstick Y, we'll drag this back in so you can get a look. Oh yeah, nearly made a mistake there. Make sure that's hooked up. So thumbstick Y, we need the left-hand side of it. Pull that up. Gonna move this out of the way. Now, remember again, opposites this time. And that should be it. Okay. Thank you very much.